For hitting 1,000 subscribers, I thought I would do something special and share my favorite game of all time to you nice folks. Now, calling a game your all-time favorite game is a hard thing to do. There are over 1 million video games made throughout time, so how do you pick just one? Well, many factors apply, but for me personally, it's a game I can replay with an unlimited amount of times and still not be bored, still enjoy it to its fullest. A game where I still laugh and I still have fun. That's right, you guessed it. Conker's Bad Fur Day. Conker's Bad Fur Day is a classic, one of the greats, if not the greatest. If you are 15 years old, then you probably don't know what this is, and you're in for a treat. Conker is an alcoholic squirrel who is just super hungover from a night out at the bar and wants to return home to his girlfriend, but along the way he gets sidetracked with money, women, and war. So buckle up while I take you on this little guy's wild journey throughout all sorts of shit. 2001 was a crazy year for video games. Super Smash Bros. Melee, Animal Crossing, Crash Bandicoot, Max Payne, RuneScape, the list goes on. A little hidden gem named Conker was about to fuck the world one frying pan at a time. Created and developed by Rare, you already know this game is gonna slap. Unfortunately, this game had some pretty bad sales and the advertising for it was at its minimal. Also, it was at the end of the Nintendo 64's lifespan, so that also sucked. Starting off the game now, we find a button pad that when you press B on it, it gives you things you need. And what I needed at that time was definitely a good hangover drink, and now my head's right and I'm ready to head out. We swim across the way with our little water wings because we don't know how to swim yet. We find the key to open the door, and at the top of the mountain, we enter the first major area of the game. Oh yeah, we also have a frying pan. That's our main weapon. We pick up some chocolate, which acts as our health, and the camera's fucking wonky as shit. I totally forgot about that. We steal the beehive at the top of the hill for a bee at the bottom, and we're chased by some mean-looking bees. They're trying to kill me, but I'm just too fast, and we grab that old LMG and take care of them quick. For returning the beehive to the king bee, we get a reward, a stack of cold hard cash. Cash in the game acts as a way to pay tolls between locations to get to new areas. Also, Conker's just greedy as fuck. We go up a hill and meet this barrel guy who says he'll help us out, but for a lot more cash than we have, and he tells me to come back when I have more, so we'll get back to him in a little bit. In order to move on and get up the hill, these shit beetles are blocking the way, so I have to use a slingshot to take them out, and the aiming mechanics did not age well. We get past though, and into the next area I see a rat, and he farts on me, so naturally I throw up. And now these boxes are talking to me, telling me to get rid of the rat, and they'll help me out, so we agree. In order to get this rat out of here, we gotta take the cheese down to the rat and feed him to the point where he's so full that he explodes. We bring the rat 4 pieces of cheese, and that's exactly what works. Now he explodes, and I have access to the barn area. We enter the barn, and it turns out we got duped. The paintbrush, the paint can, and the pitchfork have locked us in here. These 3 assholes talk about kicking my ass, so we start fighting with the pitchfork. We make him break all the hay barrels, and it tires him out. After he gets back, he lets us out. He opens the door, and we end up escaping. After escaping the barn, we come out and meet this sexy sunflower. She just wants to be tickled, so now we gotta run around and collect bundles of bees to tickle her. We bring the first bundle of bees over and it's not enough. She demands more. And just like anything that any sexy woman in the world asks, we oblige. So now we're on the hunt for more bees. We find some more cash and another bundle of bees up on the barn roof and continue to climb higher because I saw another bundle of bees up there. Now, back in the day, if you haven't played games on the Nintendo 64, then you won't realize this, but the camera is actually controlled manually. And every platforming section in every game with the camera controls like this is extremely frustrating because the camera sometimes goes places you don't want it to. Younger gamers nowadays will never know the struggle. I bring all the bees over to her and this bitch got some big old titties. Now I can use her titties to bounce up to a ledge with some more cold hard cash on it. And as an added bonus, this crackhead bee gets laid, so he's happy too. With all that nonsense out of the way, the top of the barn opens up and we head inside. We run past some bats and we get to the end. The pitchfork is now hanging from the rafters because the boss of this area hung him. We see down below that the boss is actually a bigger hay barrel, and knowing from before that we used the pitchfork to break the little hay barrels, we're gonna need this guy, so we cut him down. And now we take on the first real boss of the game. Phase 1 anyway. We hit him a few times and he catches on fire, but it's just pissing him off. He ends up jumping up and down and this asshole breaks the floor. And now we're at the bottom and we begin phase 2. He's now a robot and shoots rockets from his back. The goal here is to hide behind the pipes so that his rockets hit the pipes and break holes in them, expelling water so he will short circuit when he comes near them. After he short circuits, we can run behind him and press a button on his back, breaking off pieces of him. Third time's the charm. Now he's down and out. Definitely no Final Fantasy boss fight, but it's a good start to the bosses in this game as they do eventually get more difficult throughout. With all 3 pipes broken now, they're all spewing water everywhere and the room begins to fill up. So we need to start climbing up to escape, but there's also electrical cords hanging everywhere, so if you're too slow, you'll be electrocuted and die. We find a button pad that allows us to throw knives like we did in the barn, and we cut down the electrical cords to be able to continue so we don't fry from the electricity. We make our way to the top and now we're at the top of the barn again. The water in the well at the top is now drained, so now we can jump from the very top, turn into a weight, and hit the button at the bottom of the well, now opening a new area with another stack of money. And now that this area is complete, we can head back to the main area and start a new area. Once we get back to the main area, we're greeted with a cutscene introducing us to the main antagonist of the game, and also the plot, besides you trying to find your girlfriend. The antagonist Panther here puts a glass of milk on his side table and it slides down off the table and his milk spills, so he's super mad about it. So he calls in his weasel scientist and he explains that he's done it. He's figured out the solution to his problem. You see, one of the legs is broken and that's why his glass of milk slid off the table. So the solution is very obvious. He needs a squirrel to replace the broken leg because it's the only solution, a squirrel. It's the exact same height as the leg and he's sure there is nothing else the same size. So now they're sending their goons after Conker to kill him and use him as a lag for his table so his milk won't spill. And that's the plot of the game. Back in the main hub now, we go up the hill and enter a new area. We enter a cabin that smells like shit and we talk to this dung beetle. He asks us if we want a ball of poo and we're like, yeah, whatever, I guess so. So he tells us there's cows down at the bottom of his cabin and we need to make them shit. And then he can make us a ball of poo with the shit. So I'm like, okay, bet. We head down and find ourselves another platforming section. Nothing too hard, and then we make it to the cows. On a side note, I actually really enjoy how they put Conker in a gas mask because it smells like shit. It's just great attention to detail and another reason I absolutely love this game. We make it to the top and we find that there's a bull guarding the cows because he's a simp. He takes a look at us and tells us that he hates the color red. And he's mad that I'm red, even though I'm pretty sure I'm orange, but whatever, let's tango, bitch. I hit him in the ass with my frying pan a few times, but that doesn't work. I forgot to mention that I haven't played this game in some time, and I don't fully remember everything I have to do, so I'm still figuring some shit out as I go along as well. We climb our way to the top of the outside, and an open valve that releases prune juice is at the top, so we open it up, into the feeder. Now, if anybody's got an old school grandma, then you know that prune juice is only good for one thing. That's right, making you shit. Targets appear out of the wall now. We need to make the bull ram into them in order to release the cows. And then the cows can drink the prune juice so they can shit. In order to get the cow to the prune juice, however, we gotta get the bull stuck in the wall. And then we gotta jump on the bull and ride the bull. Then we gotta smash into the cow with the bull to move her over to the prune juice. And this is a lot easier said than done. Every direction you push, the bull goes the opposite way, so you're fighting the bull the whole time. But I end up hitting the cow, and she does what she's told. She drinks the juice for us. She drinks and drinks and drinks, until she gets the screaming shits. And our objective is complete. Except it's not, because we gotta repeat this 2 more times with 2 more cows. We end up completing that, and then the bottom of the well is filled with shit, so we're ready to move on. I jump down into the sewer thing and I find some confidence pills that I'm guessing is just Adderall. Now I have to take the confidence pills to get the baby wings off, and now I learn how to swim. We make it outside now, and our good friend the dung beetle has made good on his word. He made us a nice big ball of poo. So now we gotta manually roll the ball of poo up the hill and drop it on this guy's head so we can hit a button to open a new area. We head on in and meet the Sex and the City fish, and they explain to us that there's a bigger fish at the end blocking their way through to their vault, and if we dispose of him, they'll split the money with us. So being a greedy little shit that I am, I agree to help them out, but only for the money. I try to get into the safe without the stupid fish, but I guess they know the combo and I don't, so I have to get rid of them first. Heading on in now, there's a series of pipes that we can see underwater that are closed off, but in order to open them, we need to help these gear guys out first. Because everybody in this game wants some help, for some reason. One of the gears instantly tells me to fuck off unless we're willing to bring his missing gears back. Luckily for us, the gear turns around and the other half of the gear is a super nice gay gear, so he asks us politely to collect the rest of his gears for him, so that's what we do. This part is super fucking annoying. In order to climb to the top, you gotta pass some balance beams, and these bats are trying to knock you off, but you can press B at the right time to burn them if you have good timing. I try to just jump past the bats, but I can't. You actually have to fucking kill them or they're gonna take you out when you're climbing the rope. But we managed to get past them and we managed to get to the top and open the door and access the underwater pipes. We head down into the pipes and into the water. Underwater we find that we only have a certain amount of breath, so if you run out you'll die. But there's also little bubbles that you can get some air if you get close enough to them. Now, for all you youngsters out there, I know this sounds kind of stupid, but back in the day when I was a kid, every game you played had some sort of water level. It was like a rite of fucking passage or some shit. And they were the fucking worst. And to this day, I can't decide what was worse, the water temple from Ocarina of Time or this fucking disaster of a water level. But we move on and start this shit show. 3 of the cogs are down here under this maze of water shit. And just to boot, when you get close to them, they run from you, so you gotta hit them with your frying pan to catch them. Then you have to swim back underwater to bring them back and past these enemies that try and hit you at the same time. The controls underwater while you're swimming are super fucking wonky, and the camera just makes it 10 times worse. It's like you're fighting with the camera trying to push it the opposite direction while it's trying to go the other way. It's just awful. 1 gear down and 2 to go, so we head back into the abyss of water hell to get them. We get all 3 cogs in there and then we turn the wheel and it pulls the dogfish's string down so we can't reach the fish to kill them. Now that our little problem outside is dealt with, we can get into the vault. We enter the vault and the money immediately falls down below. Now we have to spell the word open with our slingshot in order to get down and get our money. After all that nonsense, the doors open and we put on our hard hat to go back into this watery shithole. We end up dropping down into another water section now, and this shit is 100 times worse than the last water section. It might even be worse than I remembered it as a kid, because nowadays if a water level comes up, there's usually good controls and good camera movement. But anyway, here we go. There are pipes, enemies, and fucking passages everywhere. It's like a giant maze down here everywhere you look. I almost die and managed to find an air source at the last second. I don't remember where to go, so I just wing it and pick a pipe at random. After a little bit of time, I make my way to the end, and it's a boiler room. And it's got these assholes here smoking and farting flames, laughing their ass off. But I gotta get through them to get my money, so we start the next boss fight. And this fight is absolutely hilarious and fun as hell. We're introduced to a new mechanic now, which is getting drunk. While drunk, we're super wobbly and shit, and it's really hard to move, but you can also piss as long as you have enough beer in you. And that's the main way to beat these guys. We gotta piss on them. So we do that, and once these idiots are dealt with, they run into a big boiler and use it as a vessel. And now the real fun begins. This dude's got 2 giant balls, and we gotta pull these levers and run up on him when he's stunned to crush his balls with 2 bricks. That's right, baby. The writing in this game couldn't be any better. With one final ballsack beatdown, we defeat this boss and we're ready to move on. We roll one of the balls on a button to open a door and the other ball down a hill to kill this dude. And now we're able to get to the next area. We collect our money and the catfish are just trolling the dogfish and they tell me I get $10 out of the cut. But I'm not happy about it, so I just tell them to fuck off and I'm taking all of it. I end up leaving and the dogfish gets free and starts chasing us all, but then he starts destroying the catfishes. After I escape that death trap, I go back to my trusty shitball and I push it up the other side of the mountain. We push it off a cliff and make it land on a giant sleeping beetle. With that all done now, I can get the ball of poo past the beetle on the other path on the way to the top. We can then push the ball down the hole at the top of the mountain to break the bottom of the barrier at the base of the mountain, so we can now enter Pooh Mountain. Entering Pooh Mountain now, we meet a beetle that tells us a tale of him and his mates hanging out, when all of a sudden, something came up and took his friends. He warns me to get out of there, but then he tells us we can press on if we're strong enough because there's money at the top, so of course we're going to get it. So we press on, and a mysterious voice from the depths of the shit starts talking and asks us to bring him some sweet corn. And luckily for us, there's a piece right in front of us, and a giant Pooh hand comes out and slaps the sweet corn, allowing me to pick it up. We throw 5 pieces of sweet corn in the giant pool of shit, and once that harrowing task is complete, we get what I can only describe as the greatest boss intro song ever made in the history of video games.
I am the great mighty Pooh, and I'm going to throw my shit at you. A huge supply of tish comes from my chocolate starfish. How about some scat, you little twat?
After the song is complete, the name of the game here is to run around avoiding the balls of poo he throws at you, and hitting the B button to acquire a giant roll of toilet paper. He continues to serenade us.
You don't seem to know which creek you're in. Sweet corn is the only thing that makes it through my rear. How do you think I keep this lovely grin?
Once he hits his high note, we Kobe another roll into his mouth, and he's getting faster and smarter, moving around to different spots and covering the B button with balls of shit, making me go down paths to another section. So we get a roll of toilet paper in his mouth for the 3rd time now, and he explains he's really getting mad at us now.
Shitty little tag nut. When I've knocked you out with all my bab, I'm going to take your head and ram it up my butt.
Your butt.
My butt.
Your butt.
That's right, my butt.
Ugh.
My butt. My butt.
His high-pitched singing is starting to crack the glass that's holding some money for us. Looks like the 6th time's the charm now, and he breaks the glass. We grab our cash and flush this skid mark down the drain, and a new area opens up now. We make our way down and we're treated to a new cutscene now. We see Barry, our girlfriend, getting a knock at the door. She's thinking it's me, and she says we better have a good excuse this time for not coming home last night. But when she opens the door and sees this blue testicle instead of Conker, he knocks Barry out and kidnaps her. I guess she didn't want to hear the good word of the Lord or some shit. We get back to the game now and make our way into a new area. I see a big pool of water, and great, here we go again with another water section. I make my way in the pool and I see blood and guts everywhere. Oh, that's why. We press on, and Jesus Christ, if you thought the camera and swimming mechanics were bad last time, then you're in for a treat. For some reason, it looks like you're super close to the blade, even though you're actually really far away from it. So you start to go through the blade opening and it kills you because it can't tell how close you are or how far you are from the blades. And then at the same time you got the camera still pulling the opposite direction. This shit sucks. Oh yeah, so this is the first time I've actually died in the game, and I forgot, once you die for the first time, you actually get to go to this place and you meet Death. Death tells you that you're just like cats, and squirrels are a special case in the universe, and we actually have as many lives as we think we can get away with. Just as long as we collect these tails, so we grab our tail and then we get an extra life. Anyways, we make it past the underwater blades, and then there's also another part with more blades, but it's actually a lot easier since they weren't underwater, so we get past that, and then we meet these lovely characters, one of which is taking a shit behind a rock. They tell me they're looking for a squirrel because their boss needs one for his table, and we fit the description perfectly. But we dupe this idiot and tell him I'm an elephant, and he's got the description of the squirrel wrong, and this dumb fuck buys it, so we move on and continue our adventure. Now we enter the dinosaur area, and I can't explain to you how much I love this section. We make our way to the top, grab some money, and smash this statue down to a lower level, and then we crush this little caveman dude at the bottom. We try to go down this path, but it's blocked, and we also learn that the cavemen here are not friendly at all, so we need to stay away from them. We make it to Rock Solid, the coolest club in the land, and of course we're not allowed in because the bouncer says we don't have the right clothes on. It's a dress code night. So we steal this sleeping rock man beside the bouncer and begin to roll him down the path that we couldn't access before. And on the way, the other rock men are like, "Fuck no, you're not stealing my boy," and they begin to beat the shit out of me. And just to throw salt on the wound, one of them throws up on me, because why not? We continue to roll the rock man down the path that was blocked before, and we make easy work of these two fuckers and press on into a new area that we've unlocked by breaking the wall at the bottom. We make it into the main layer of the dinosaur land, and this is where all the magic happens. We make our way into the next area and we find a giant egg. I go in this guy's rock slab and he tosses me up onto the top of the egg. We got a light bulb prompt here, so we hit that and now we're sitting on the giant egg that's ready to be hatched. And here we go. We hatch the egg and meet this adorable purple little fucker, and it calls us Mummy. And now we have a responsibility to this creature. We wanted to be an adult and do adult things without protection, so this is what happens. It's time to reap the consequences. It's time to man up and raise what we have now created and brought into this world. There's no turning back. So instantly we teach our seed to become a homicidal maniac, because if we're going to have a child, then that child better bring something to the table. And also we gotta feed it, so it just feeds itself. It's a win-win. We eat our way all the way down back to the path that brings us to the main area. And we eat these assholes or praying to the Scientologist dinosaur god, because fuck that religion. We use the slingshot to hit the up arrow on the wall, which raises the giant stone slab behind me. I see another button on the wall that's a star, and I hit it. And the giant stone slab slams down, and also there's 2 footprints in the stone, and I'm gonna be honest, this shit broke my heart. I'm sure you can already guess what's about to happen. Fuck the writers for this one. This is a low blow. I spent the time raising this little guy, feeding him, playing with him, teaching him how to walk. I watched him grow up from an egg to a big boy, and now the gods are asking for a sacrifice, and they expect me to be the one to give it to them. And it's time to get those F's in the chat for our baby dino. Gone, but not forgotten. Taken too soon. Alright, let's move on. With that out of the way, the dino god is pleased with my offering and opens its big chops to let another monk guy out. The slime in his mouth is keeping me from heading inside, so we gotta solve that problem first. Looks like the dino has a cold. So all we gotta do here is clear its sinuses. So we do that by putting pepper in each one of his nostrils. So we head on the top of him and we start with his one nostril. He starts to feel irritated, but we still gotta do the other one. Now we hit the second and it works like a charm. He sneezes all his phlegm away and now we can enter the new area inside his mouth. We head on in now and past that little dangly thing that's swinging in the back of his throat. Whop. We make our way through and find this dead caveman king guy out here, so naturally we steal his hat, and now I'm the king of the cavemen. I am the all-powerful god that controls these little fuckers, so that's exactly what we do. Now that I'm the king of the cavemen, we have the strength in numbers. I gather up as many as I can and take my fight to the club so that I can break my way in, since they won't let me in because I don't have the right clothes on. You gotta go nice and slow though, because these idiots get lost quite easily and they'll end up stopping in their tracks just to bow and worship you. We get to the club, and with my frying pan hit, that's a signal to start the fight, and they attack like my good little minions. We gang up on them one by one, bashing them into little pebbles. And finally we get the bouncer's attention. He tells us he's willing to lift the dress code, but I need the password. But good thing my little minions know the password, so we end up getting in. Now it's time to rock out with our cocks out, jam out with our clams out. We head inside and step on this button that opens a door at the bottom, and at the top of that door is our slut girlfriend shaking her ass for dollar bills. But I'm not even mad about it, I just start dancing, and I'm about to get lit as fuck. This place is banging. Listen to the beats. And check out this crowd. This club is bumping. Look at this bitch to the right of me with those big ass titties just shaking her shit with no care in the world. She might be made of rock, but she's making me rock hard. Alright, enough playing around. We move on now and find Sum 41 just chilling in the corner, being all creepy and shit. Alright, I lied. I decided to go back on the dance floor and bust some more moves because this song is banging as fuck. The name of the game here is to get drunk and piss on these rock guys and get them in the door. And this is extremely hard to do. Once you piss on them, they only move a certain distance. And then they turn into a normal rock guy again and come to beat your ass. But we managed to get them through the door, and at this point we're completely plastered and throwing up all over the place and shit. So I head over to this first aid kit to sober up. We head on into the new area at the top of the bar, the VIP section if you will, and we gotta push this rock guy down the path and onto a new button. The gimmick here is that these dancers can push the rock dude to the bottom, and if that happens, you have to do the whole thing over again. But we make it to the end. 2 more doors now open at the bottom of the dance floor, and there's 2 more rock guys left. So I put 2 and 2 together and figure out that I need to piss on both of these guys to make each one of them go into the new doors that have opened. At this point, I'm just taking in how absolutely fucking hilarious this game is. It's so hard walking around drunk, and pissing while trying to aim is even harder, but what a blast this is. I can't believe this game was around when I was a kid, and I can't believe I got away with playing it. My mom wouldn't even let me watch South Park and listen to Eminem. We get the last guy in the door and he breaks the cage that Barry's dancing in, and there's also some money up there, so we collect that. And now it's time to head outside the club. I try to leave the club, but this bouncer tells me that I need to see the boss. So we get a cutscene with Barry rubbing the boss's shoulders, and I'm here wondering what the fuck she's doing. The main takeaway here is that he's mad at me because I tried to leave his club with the cash I found fair and square, and Barry also doesn't recognize me because of the hat I'm wearing. The boss tells me he'll get to me in a moment because he's got some business to attend to, and then he talks about respect and how someone is a traitor in the group, and he decides that it's Polly. So Polly's dealt with accordingly. He gets back to me and tells me I can keep the money as long as I do him a little job. He explains that the job is simple and I already have the disguise. All I need is this bomb that he gives me, and he begins to tell me that these cavemen are the problem. He doesn't know where they came from, but he wants to get rid of them because they're on his territory. He tells me to take the bomb through the tunnels, and then through the dino's mouth, and then drop it in a pit. And then after that, he highly suggests that I leave town. And at this point, I don't want to lose my life to a baseball bat, so I accept the job. Running with the bomb now, and for some reason the cavemen don't respect me anymore, and they're trying to hit me on my way to deliver the bomb to its resting place. I guess the hat's just lost its appeal. The fuse on the bomb is getting extremely small now, but I make it just in time and throw the bomb down into the hole. The bomb explodes and the lava starts to fill up the caverns, and now it's completely flooded. Guess everyone down there is dead now. We have access to the next area, so we continue on. We make it to the next area and we're instantly knocked out by the Sum 41 guys, and now this douchebag stole my fucking money, and in order to get it back we must win a race. Or something. By now you already know where I stand on the controls with the camera on the swimming, but this adds a whole new level to the camera being wonky. If you hit the slightest corner of a wall, you die. For some reason a dinosaur is crossing at the exact same time you get to that part, so you die. What you're meant to do here is hit the other racers with your frying pan so you can get your money back, and this sucks because when you get close to them they speed up. And also there's a lot of twists and turns and obstacles in the way. But we managed to come out victorious and get all our money back. We crash into this giant arena looking place and the crowd goes wild. They cheer for the victorious speed racer and all his glory. Except we soon find out that's not why they're cheering. We see this fat fuck in his whore up top. He says to send in Fangy, which I instantly ignore and try to leave. Once I try to leave, we meet Fangy, and it's a fucking baby T-Rex, and he's pissed off, so he chases me and bites me in the face. I pull out my super secret move now and put this little fucker to sleep, and now the real fun begins. I hop on his back and control him like my little bitch. I start taking out some caveman guys. After a few of these guys, this big guy's just like, oh, nasty, nasty, and he's getting an erection. He's never seen anything like this before. He likes the show I'm putting on for him. He sends in some more units, and these guys can now hit you and knock you off your T-Rex. And if that happens, you gotta get chased by him again and put him to sleep again. But luckily these guys really suck, so I never really got knocked off. At this point, Ooga Booga is getting mad, saying that this isn't supposed to happen because I'm taking care of all his goons. And just to boot, his whore wife is telling him that I got a bigger bone than him. So now he's pissed off and comes down to tango. This boss fight is pretty interesting. He can jump up and smash down to create a shockwave that knocks you off your T-Rex. He can also swing his bone to hit you off the T-Rex as well. But he's really fat and slow, so we use that to our advantage. The key here is to bite him in the dick. And then you want to get behind him so you can pull his pants down and bite him in the ass. Ultimately, you want to show the crowd that he's got a small cock and he's embarrassed. First bite down and we go around to take a chunk out of his ass cheek. He's pretty mad, but this is just the start. With 3 big chunks missing from his ass now, he can't seem to get the cloth covering his dick back on. And now everyone can see his tiny dick, and I win. We make it back out to the main hub, and we get a cutscene showing us the bees has stole the shit from the queen again. So we head over there to deal with it. We enter the beehive and start this little mini game where you have to shoot all the bees coming at you, and if they hit you, you lose a piece of health. Also, you need to reload every once in a while, so that's annoying. The bees also move really sporadically, so they're super hard to hit. This part's pretty gimmicky and long, not really a fan. We hop out and grab the hive to take it back to its rightful owner, and of course I'm getting chased again by these little fuckers, all the way back to the start. A little bit of overkill now and we get rid of these bees. Finally now the queen can rest and give me another 3 bundles of cash. Entering a new area we see Death, his name is Greg by the way, swinging at some fish, so we'll leave him to it and head the other way for now. We head to a switch that opens the graveyard doors and begin to make our way to the graveyard. On our way to the graveyard, we make it back to Greg and we pass him, and he straight up gives us a shotgun and tells us there's zombies in the graveyard. He also tells us that I got a living relative living right past the graveyard. Well, technically he's not living, he's actually undead. And with that info, I grab my shotgun, load her up, and now I'm like the fucking Doom guy, ready to blow some heads off. The shotgun has 2 different functions. You can either hip fire it and spray it like a drunken cum shot, or you can hold down the aim button and then hold the shoot button for a laser. Then you can aim for those sweet, sweet headshots, since Greg told us that's the best way to defeat these little shits. We head in the graveyard and they instantly start to emerge from the graves, but I ain't having it and I let these little fuckers know who the boss is. After we defeat about 12 of these zombies, we get through and I make my way up a path and into the mansion where my supposed ancestor lives. We meet him and he welcomes us into his house, and he's creepy as fuck and something is definitely off with him. He tells me that he's got food and drink and to follow him, so that's exactly what we do. He starts to give us a tour of the house and it's in pretty rough shape. He explains that he's doing some repairs in order to add something big that he doesn't tell us about. We eat and drink wine like a king, and we ask why he's not eating or drinking. He says he never ever drinks wine, and then laughs. At this point, I'm 100% sure he's a vampire. There's banging at the front door, and he tells you that it's the villagers. He tells you he's going to kill you and drink your blood, but now he needs our help. He then bites us and turns us into a vampire bat, and now he's explaining that these villagers pop up once in a while and try to kill him. So he wants me to go find them and bring them to this grinder thing. Then their blood goes into the pumps and feeds him the blood. So that's the next step to this game. And this shit is super fucking fun. Every new idea these guys come up with somehow tops the last. We get used to the flying mechanics that aren't actually that bad, and we find our first victim. The way you get them stunned is to poop on them and then pick them up and fly them over to this crazy machine that this crazy dude's built. You then just fly over the grinder and Conker will automatically drop the villager into it. The villager gets grinded and blood goes up where your great, we're just going to call him Grandpa, gets fed on the blood. Your little radar beeps when you get close to a villager, so it's not that hard to find them. But this is a big ass mansion and there's a ton of rooms and floors to explore and find villagers from. We turn the corner in the library again and find another villager. As we're taking him to the grinder, we can now see that a wooden spike is being thrown at us. And now that's a new challenge for us, as we're just trying to feed our poor old grandpa. We feed him the third villager now and he asks for more. We can see that he's getting bigger and bigger, and also the rope is now starting to rip a little bit, and we're about to kill our grandpa and watch him be grinded in the grinder. With 5 feedings now, the fruits of our labor are starting to pay off. Grandpa's getting fat as fuck, and another part of the rope breaks. And with that, the 7th villager is sacrificed, and our dear old grandpa is too fat to hang on. He drops into the grinder and explodes into mush. We turn back into our normal selves, and now there's zombies emerging from every corner of the mansion, so it's time to kill again. We make our way to the library and find ourselves a bee pad, and now we get a crossbow to take out these bats in each corner. We make our way on the top of the dining room, killing some more zombies on the way, and make easy work of some more bats just chilling. The reason we're clearing out these rooms is because there's 3 keys in the front door to get out, and we need to carry each of them from different areas back to the main door, which means our hands are going to be full. So that means we're unable to use the shotgun, so the more we kill, the better, and then they're out of our way. We carefully walk across the beams with our first key, and start our long walk back to the main door of the house. With the first key now in the door, we see another area open up. And it's going outside to the Hedge Maze, so that's our next destination. This part and the next part are identical to what we've already done. We gotta get the key from the courtyard and bring it back. And then we gotta go to the top floor and bring another key back. That one's a little bit harder, but we still managed to make easy work out of it because we're just that good. And just like that, with all 3 keys in the door, we're now free to leave. We start to make our way down the path to leave, but we see that there's worms all over the place, so it's actually impossible for us to leave right now. And I completely forgot, but do you remember that barrel from the beginning of the game who wanted money and we didn't have enough, so he told us to come back? Well, that's actually how we got into the graveyard area, and the barrel rams into a hole in the wall, and that's the entrance. My bad. I was just reminded that because we gotta do the exact same thing here to get out of the mansion. This barrel ride is a little harder, and now that we're going downhill and your speed is increasing, it's actually a lot harder to turn. But we managed to get to the bottom and out of the graveyard, and now that current in the water before that we couldn't swim in, we can now use the barrel to get past it and continue into the next area. We make it to the other side and we're all the way back to the start where we push the gargoyle off the cliff at the very beginning. We make our way back into the main area once more, and now the door behind the barbed wire fence is open, so we head on in. This guy here tells me that it's time for war, and they need me. It's the squirrels versus the bears, and we need all the soldiers that we can get. So we enter the naval base now. We see a plane flying overhead, and 2 soldiers are just napping. No big deal. So of course, they get shot down, and the plane is now blocking our way for the boats to get out of here and head towards the war. We meet this guy here, who's clearly suffering from some mental illness, and he tells us to form a line. But it's just me. He tells us that the boats need to get out to the beach to start the war, and now he needs my help. I need to clear the way because we got a war to fight, and I start off by trying to get us out of here. We head upstairs in the bathroom and meet this dude. He's got a huge bomb strapped to his back, so very clearly we need to use this dude as a bomb to clear the way for us to leave. He tells us he's tired and needs a little hand, because everybody in this game needs a little hand. So we push him down the hill and find out that he actually doesn't know how to stop, so he blows up. But luckily there's actually an unlimited amount of these guys in the bathroom spawning, so we're good. A little simple puzzle solving here, and we move a box so our friend doesn't go overboard and die. The difficulty spike in the game at this point is increased significantly. The whole war section is by far the hardest areas in the game, and it's a welcome addition from the laid-back game we've had so far. There's 2 paths here, and we need to bring 2 separate bomb guys to each side, so we start with the left side. There are crates that need to be avoided, and this side is definitely easier than the latter. The hardest part here is that if you stop pushing him, then he continues to move a little bit with the momentum we've already given him. It's not a huge problem on this side, but the other side it definitely is. We get him to his final resting place right beside the left side of the plane, and now it's time to grab the second bomb and head over to the right side of the obstacle course. I jump in the water and head my way back to the start and see that there's an electric eel in here. And I'm pretty sure that'll come into play soon. This side is where the true test of skill comes in, and the spider mines there are randomly placed, so you need to remember the path. But I'm pretty good, so I get him over there no problem. We get the second bomb guy over there, and this general guy now tells us we need to power up the nodes in the water. I knew this dude would come into play eventually. So we now guide the electric eel through the little circles, and we power up the lights, and also the B-pad to the slingshot. So we use the slingshot to blow up the 2 TNT guys to get the plane out of the way. And then we get on the boat, and we head out to where the war is taking place, and we're treated with this absolute masterpiece of a scene that replicates Saving Private Ryan to a T.
Help. Please help.
Okay, 30 seconds. Nice knowing you guys.
Gain control of Conker again, we make our way past the beach and into this new area. On the way, I'm getting annihilated. Conker is not built for war, but we press on, and we make it to the end where the gunfire can't hit us anymore. We make it to this little dude, and he asks us where everyone is, and the realization of me being alone kicks in. I'm the only one left. I'm the one-man army, the sole survivor. So I grab my overpowered MAC-10s and my cigar, and we're about to kick ass and chew bubblegum. And I'm all out of bubblegum. We enter the bears' hideout and they think they're being slick, but I wipe the floor with them with ease. The door opens up now and I'm having to get past a laser grid. We make our way down the hallway and these fuckers are literally everywhere. But in case you've forgotten, I'm the fucking man. Nothing survives when I want it dead. Now we make it past like at least 100 more enemies, and now we meet these 2 sick fucks. They're holding the POW prisoner and torturing him. And this boss fight is really fucking hard. There's a bunch of normal teddies here, but your main goal is to take out the 2 scientists. I try to hide behind a box, but they just come at me and kill me anyways. After a little battle, we defeat them and find this guy in the back. He tells us that there's one of the switches here that will release him, but he doesn't know which one it is. Turns out it doesn't matter what switch you hit. Either one, it fries him. And then the second switch you hit opens the door. In the next room, we get more fucking teddy bears now, and this guy's on a minigun. We run past him when he reloads and get to the top, where we have the high ground. One easy RPG shot to this dude and I come out victorious. We hop in the chair and start blasting these fools who keep running at me with greater and greater numbers. This is just a wave for wave mini game thing, and I get through it pretty easily. We finish off the remaining waves and all the guys are dead now, and the door opens to the next area. We make our way outside and our buddy's about to be executed, so I take them out before that happens. We get him free once all the enemies are dead, and he's got a homemade bulletproof armor vest, which will come in handy later during the next part. We start making our way through the trenches of war, and you gotta watch out for fallen bombs, and most importantly these spider mines who come at you to kill you. And this is where this little dude's armor comes into play. He tells you to get behind him and he takes cover. And then the blast goes to him, causing no damage to his suit. Once we're past that part and safe, our friend stays behind, and we get to man a tank. The controls on the tank are fucking horrid, but we still have fun blowing shit up. We blow up this little door here going in to try to find the switch so it opens the big door so we can move on. We find the switch and the acid starts to fill the room, and we need to run out of here as fast as we can or we're gonna drown in acid. But we make it. We make it through the door with the tank, and you want to break all 4 legs of this gun tower here, and at the same time avoid all the teddies trying to shoot you. The bridges are up as well, so you need to manually go over there and lower them yourself while trying not to get shot. It's a super hard area and also very annoying. After a few tries though, we managed to get to the end, and now we drop down a hole which is most definitely a boss area. We see this little girl in the middle, but she's not the target for the moment. Around the pit is a bunch of submarines you need to destroy. We have to shoot rockets at the submarines while they are also shooting rockets at us. At first it's not too bad, there's like 2 of them, but then you go to the next area and then there's 5, and then 7, and it just gets harder the further you go. After we defeat the last batch of submarines, we head over to talk to the little girl. We meet this little bitch and she says she's happy to see us, and she's glad she gets to see her mommy and daddy again, and we already know that's bullshit. The boss fight is pretty tough, but luckily we got our big bad buddy in his tank to back us up. The strategy is the same here. Take out the guns, blow the little girl off his arm, and then shoot the teddy in the red lit hatch on his back. Rinse and repeat, baby. We hit the red button once more, and now this little bitch is getting mad as fuck. I've definitely triggered her. After we hit the red button for the last time, the machine is down. This little bitch summoned some spider mines to blow me off my tank, and then she does the unthinkable. Something so heinous that this 6-year-old little shit would only think of. She hits the self-destruct button, and now a timer appears and we need to escape before everything blows up. So of course I instantly start to panic and run as fast as I can right into the fucking lasers, killing myself. So we restart, I get back into it and slow myself down, at least by half. After a pretty long sequence of events of escaping that I really didn't have time to record because I was too busy trying not to die, we make it to the beach and jump on the boat to return home. Now we're victorious in the war, and now it's over. Our friend wakes up from being knocked out and sees the timer in the corner and realizes he's in deep shit. The bomb goes off, killing everyone in the teddy's base, but don't worry, our little buddy is fine. He glides majestically through the air. With all of that out of the way, we're now nearing the end of our journey. And it's a good thing our boy over here flew up and hit the windmill and blew it up, because that's actually the last area of the game, and now we can get in. And just on a side note, that bee that we spent the whole fucking game helping out, yeah, well, he got fucked up. We jump inside the windmill to get to the final area. It's the big bank, and when we walk up there, we see the boss here. He tells us that he thought he told us to leave town, but I couldn't have left town because I'm standing right in front of him. What an observational fucking genius. He tells us he's got a little job for us. One last job, if you will. The big one. Barry shows up looking like the chick from the Matrix, and her and the boss have a chat about her not knowing me, and now she does. So he just says we can do the job together then, so it's time for me to get dressed into the proper outfit, and let's get this bank robbery on the road. We head into the bank, and you already know what fucking time it is.
Please place any metallic objects in the tray.
Now we start off with the coolest gameplay mechanic that is introduced so far. Check out how cool this shit is. They call me Neo. I'm the one, and I control the flow of time and shit. The goal here is to make our way to the end of the elevator, and make our way upstairs towards the vault, so we gotta clear out all these fuckbags first. We hide behind pillars, and when I'm good and ready, I flip my way out of there and slow-mo the fuck out of these guys. Barry also pulls some fancy shit and turns off the laser so we can move forward. Not sure why she couldn't have just done that from the other side, or put her hand through, but whatever. We push on and I'm just trouncing kids at this point. This is so much fun. Can't hit what you can't see, baby. With one last little weasel out of the way, we now have access to the elevator and that sweet, sweet cash. We get the vault open and we head on into our payday, and we start to collect our cash. After we collect it all, you can see now we got a cool $1 million in the bank. And now we're rich as fuck. And now that we're done, I'm sure we can just walk right out of here with no questions asked. And then this fucking guy shows up, and yeah, I didn't think so. It turns out the Panther is actually our boss's boss. So he tells our boss to kill Barry, and this dude shoots her like 100 times. The Panther starts to have some heartburn now. Conker's super confused, and the Professor Weasel comes down and tells us to watch the show. He says he's infected the Panther with a new enemy because I got rid of all his teddies, and he's actually pretty pissed off about it. And this is where things start to take a turn for the worst. Now the fucking alien pops out of this Panther's chest. The Professor takes us into space, and I've seen the Alien movie, so I already know what's about to go down. I instantly run to the switch to open the airlock, and it causes a whole bunch of commotion. A suit appears, and I put that shit on and start to fight this alien. Barry's body unfortunately flies out to the abyss, and so does this fucking weasel, and it's about time. I beat this alien's ass, and then we Super Mario 64 him out of the airlock, but he catches the corner and gets back in. We do this 2 more times, and then he's out of here. He gets back in somehow and starts jumping at me, and then time freezes and the game is locked. Conker starts talking to the developers since the game is locked, and he says he won't tell anyone as long as he helps him out with the alien here. So we head on into the Matrix gun room and grab a sword and a shotgun for good measure. We start the game back up, and with one swift swoop of the sword, I cut his head off. After the main battle's done, all of our friends come out and tell us there's an empty throne for me now, and they want me to be the king. And with all your friends in the room, the end cutscene plays.
The king is dead. Long live the king.
Yeah, long live the king.
Long live the king.
Long live the king.
Will you stop repeating me?
I'm not beating him.
Long live the king.
Long live the king.
Long live the king. Long live the king. Long live the king. Long live the king. Long live the king. Long live the king. Long live the king. Long live the king. Long live the king. So, there I am. King. King of all the land. And who'd have thought that? Not me. I guess you know who these guys are now? 'Cause I certainly do. I don't want to know them. And yep, I may be king. I have all the money in the world. And all the land. And all that stuff. But you know, I don't really think I want it. I just want to go home. With Barry. And, I don't know, have a bottle of beer. It's not gonna happen. It's true what they say. The grass is always greener. And you don't really know what it is you have until it's gone. Gone. Gone.
I want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for sticking around to watch this whole video. I can't thank you enough for all the support I've been getting with my channel. This has definitely been my biggest and most ambitious video to date, and I plan on doing much more for you guys as well. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing and stick around for tons more content. Thank you guys so much.